I love this brother already because he's playing with us in the chat. Raleigh Ritchie is his stage name. That is A Time in a Tree. Some of you know him as the leader of the Unsullied from Game of Thrones. I am absolutely in love with this brother as Louie on Interview with a Vampire, the new remake, Anne Rice's classic with the blackest twist ever. I love it. I love it. Let me welcome to the show, Mr. Jacob Basil Anderson. Hello.
You brought in the Basil.
Yes, I had to. I had to do that. I want to give you a Caribbean nod because that's the Basil's like it's British, but it's so Caribbean.
Oh yeah, it's Jamaican.
Jamaican, yes.
My granddad was called Basil, and my uncle's called Basil.
Yeah, every third person actually is
Basil.
Jamaica's Basil. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me introduce you to my team here. That's Lamont King of all things funny, and Dante Nero, who hosts the longest running podcast. I think Ramses was on like one of the first episodes.
The first.
Yeah. Back 1,000 years ago. So you are so versatile. I didn't know you sang until today. You do music, you're all of these things. The challenge when I saw you as Louie, I was like, do we need black vampires?
Of course.
I mean, of course, the first vampire had to be black, but the story, the richness, the race, the racism, Louisiana, the development of this character and the spin on a story that we've seen before. Yeah. Just what did you do when you got the script? First of all, how did you get this role?
I auditioned for it a lot. I did 8 rounds of auditions for this.
Wow.
For this part. Yeah. I think I was just like when I first read this script, I don't know if I'm proud to admit it or not. I guess I am proud to admit it. Like there is a lot of similarity between myself and Louie, in lots of different ways. And I felt a little bit like someone had got inside my head when when I read the script. But yeah, obviously like my knowledge of Interview with the Vampire started with like I understood that Brad Pitt played this part. And I couldn't quite square that circle immediately. But then when I read the first book, I was even more surprised to see what he's a plantation owner. Yeah, and this Louie's family was as well, But yeah.
Wait. So I knew they were wealthy. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah. So your family, your mom is played by Hoppo. Who's that woman? Ray Dawn Chung. Okay. That's your mama, and they're very wealthy. You are this guy that runs businesses, some unsavory businesses. You run into the character that Tom Cruise made famous in Interview with a Vampire, and there's this connection. And it's powerful. This guy, whoever that guy is, first of all, he's plumb sexy. So are you. Y'all both sexy. It's just like I don't care. Everybody's just take every shirt off. I'm good. I don't care what y'all doing to each other. That's fine. But as this is developing, I'm like, how are they gonna? Where are they? And then the race thing came in. I was like, oh, okay. When is the plan? Did we always know? Did I miss that they own?
Yeah, no. Louie mentions it in the first episode that like their family. They're free people of color, Creole people of color, and but yeah, they're the money that bought them that house, and it's a plantation house. The money was from sugar. They made their money from slavery, which
didn't even put it together.
Yeah,
and it's something we don't talk about. The Known World is a book that is a novel that deals with it, and there were Native American people on the Trail of Tears that owned Black people. There were Black people that owned Black people, Jewish people that owned Black people. Enslavement of Black bodies was a big industry for 400 years globally. And the notion that Black people didn't own Black people, we don't ever talk about. So that it was even in passing, I didn't even connect the dots. So thank you for now making me lean in. But he is very much a tortured soul who is battling the Blackness, the Black disrespect and the places you can't go and the things you can't do. But now you got this ultimate power as a vampire where you literally can take people's life and do it in a way that is brutal at the same time, undetectable. Talk about that journey for you.
Yeah, I think there's something really interesting about Louie that, like, I think on some level he feels like getting that power, that vampire power, is gonna buy him out of racism. It's gonna buy him out of other people's perception of him. But of course, when he leaves, when he goes outside, he's still seen the same. He's still treated with the same disrespect. He's still disempowered. And yeah, I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. And he kind of he is sort of trapped, I guess, in he's trapped in this idea that people have of him, regardless of the fact that he could just dispatch of people. But then he can't. Like you see in the show, like he can't just use his power to, like, you can kill a racist, but you can't kill racism by killing, and in some cases it kind of
makes it worse.
Enhances it.
So that's what I was going to ask, because I haven't seen it and I'm pretty sure it's not a comedy. But like, if it's racism, if
it has this moment,
if it's
it
racism,
does have its moments.
If racism and vampirism intersect, wouldn't it just be a thing of just, eating white meat the whole time, one at a time, and just trying to get back?
Louie does in the show. He doesn't. Louie doesn't eat black people.
Oh, okay, got it.
He's not
I didn't know that was a conscious choice either. Yeah. Jacob is revealing some things here. Yeah. Well, Louie doesn't really like to eat people, period. So let me just put that out there. He's a vegetarian or a pescatarian or an animalitarian.
He's
vampire version of vegetarian.
He's a vampire vegetarian, a vegan. Jacob Anderson is here. You said you connected with this character like it was in your head. Was it this dual positioning, this you have all of these gifts, but nobody can see, all they see is your black skin? And I guess, England is a complicated place. One of the first colonizers, on earth. Well, not one of the first, Rome, I guess, but Rome didn't put race at the forefront. Rome was just like, we're going to just gobble up everything. The Greeks did it before them. The Egyptians did it before them, but it was not rooted in black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
England did that, right? So was that the battle for you? What was the connection to this character?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a part of it. It's definitely a part of it. And I think, but it's interesting because, as you say, it's a different thing in the UK. It manifests in a different way. I think racism in England is like an exercise of like gaslighting. Like in England, you grow up kind of being told that racism doesn't exist. Whereas I don't think that really happens here because of the legacy of slavery, and because people kept slaves in this country.
Way after 1933.
Yeah, it's a different thing. You can't reset that. It's very prevalent. You see it, you know it, you understand it here. Whereas in the UK, I think there's always this hiding behind the thing of like, well, we never kept slaves here.
Yeah.
So like it didn't happen
It's an interesting thing because my son is in England and his nephews, the soldiers that went to England married and made a whole bunch of like mixie babies in England. So there's a whole bunch of there's a lot of you running around, England. And so it tends to be class first and then racism second. But I have nephews that didn't even know that there was slaves in England, like just found that out recently, because it's so. How do you connect with that, with the fact that the chattel slavery in New Orleans and in terms of this part?
I mean, like, so I grew up in Bristol, and Bristol's like, it's a port town. A lot of the street names in Bristol are named after slavers and plantation owners, or not plantation owners, but slavers. And there are like monuments to them, and it's there, it's in the air. Bristol to me, Bristol feels like the New Orleans of England. Like I felt there's like a large Jamaican community in Bristol. There's a large Somalian community as well. But then it kind of so like it feels like a black city, but it also is it also has this history.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I felt really comfortable in New Orleans. So yeah, there's kind of a connection. I want to say as well, like New Orleans is like a deeply artistic place, and it's very like it's a very vibrant city, and so is Bristol. So I'm not saying that to kind of like only define those places by the dark history, you know.
Had you traveled to New Orleans before this project?
No, never. But maybe like 10 minutes into being there, I was like, oh, I feel comfortable here. I feel like I understand something about this city
that's the power of the global majority.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the voodoo spirits too. They kind of 10 minutes in, they kind of they let you know. They let you know where you at.
Not the voodoo spirits. Jacob Anderson is here. Y'all can follow him literally at Jacob Anderson. His full name. He got it on Twitter. I don't know if he's staying on Twitter, but he's there. We're talking about Interview with a Vampire, which is the Anne Rice wonderful trilogy. My favorite is Queen of the Damned because it gives the African origins of vampirism. And now he's playing a vampire who's also in your hair on the show. In modern time, not New Orleans, but in modern time, because you're being interviewed by a reporter. We get to see this last episode that I watched that you met him in a time, I think it was the 70s, because, I've noticed you had a little afro, and now you have like the funkiest hair. Is that a wig, or how long did that take for them to do it if that's your actual hair?
No, that's my all of the hair in the show is real. It's all my hair.
That hair is amazing. I was like, how did they do that? It's each piece is separated, and it's
Andrea Young.
Shout out to her.
She really did it. She's an artist.
How long did it take?
Well, the Dubai hair, that was Dominique.
The Dubai hair, that's what it is. Yes,
she did. They're just twists. It's just you do it with a twist sponge. It takes maybe 40 minutes, and then you do some like finger twists, and then some with a sponge. Some good product in it.